Welcome to His Stories with Bill, about how God takes us through His creative process. Hello, this is Bill Cearbaugh sharing his stories of creativity today with Adelaide. We'll be getting to know Adelaide and her story about friendship with Christ and how she connects with Him and His creativity. Hello, Adelaide.
Hey, Bill.
Adelaide and I have known each other many years over the years online, just connecting through Facebook and other social media opportunities. And she's an artist friend of mine. And we're just going to connect today to find out how she came to know Christ, how she connects with Christ through her creativity and so forth, and wanted to get to know you a little bit better, Adelaide. So where exactly does your story begin in terms of your personal friendship with Christ?
Oh, as my husband would say, my life began at an early age. Truthfully, though, I accepted Christ at the age of 4.
Wow, very young then, huh?
I've known him for 60 years. Yeah. I have never known a time when God was not real and a part of my life.
Wow.
You know, there was times I wandered away here and there, teenage years and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But always, I knew that I always had close, intimate, conversational relationship with him. Yeah.
Cool. Now, is that influence from your family and they shared Christ with you, or how did you come to know Christ at such an early age?
Well, my mom was a Christian. She's still a Christian in heaven. Such a faithful woman of God. She was a Mennonite. She got saved at the age of 12.
Okay.
And served the Lord from then on until she went to heaven. Just a faithful, solid. You couldn't try and convince her that God wasn't real because she knew He was.
Yeah.
You know? And I grew up with that.
Wow.
And
what a positive influence.
Oh, incredibly so. When she was getting into older years, like she was 96 when she died. She was going, what am I doing? What good has my life been? I've just lived this simple little life in a little town and, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But she has no idea. Well, she does now, but she had no idea how many lives she impacted just by being faithful to what God said to her and praying for people. And that was my example, all the way through. She's my example of what it means to be faithful to Christ. So, yeah, I mean, I did go to church. We went to church all my life.
Oh, okay.
And I assume it did have an impact. It was a Pentecostal church, so we got to have all the fun rolling in the aisles and whatnot.
Oh, right.
But I think far more it was my mom's example that was an influence for me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And she probably didn't realize how much impact that would have. I mean, just looking like our friendship over the years and other friendships that you've had with other people online and elsewhere, and is a powerful impact, I'm sure. For sure.
Yeah. My husband runs a ministry group online.
Okay.
That people there are completely impacted by things that he would share that my mom would say.
Is that right? Oh my goodness.
All over the world. And I mean, she had really no idea at that time how impactful she was. Yeah.
Wow. So where did all your art begin then?
I think I always had a love of color, a love of trying to portray, even in the poetry. I tried as a teenager to write poetry.
Okay.
And it was so cheesy, it made me gag. Seriously. And I quit because I just couldn't do it right.
Oh, no.
But, well, at that time, I couldn't. That's something that the Lord gave me several years ago. There was a woman who prayed for me, and she said, Lord, wake her up in the middle of the night, wake her up at 3:30 in the morning and give her words for poetry. And a few days later, that started.
Is that right? And it just
At
sort of
3:30 in the morning.
started flowing out of you then at that point. Isn't that amazing? Wow.
And I can recall times getting up, because I have to, if I start getting a poem, I have to get up and write it down.
Yeah.
Or I'll lose it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would go, Holy Spirit, would you just give it to me in the morning? And he would go, no. And so I would get up and I would be writing it down at 3:34 in the morning, and I'd be like, thanks, Jackie. You could have prayed that it,
You're on my schedule, not your schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that
hasn't happened to me very often, but a few times that very thing. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's almost, I can only explain it like it just kind of bubbles out of you.
Yep.
And if you get it right away, then it's written down for sure.
If I start writing it, it flows.
Yes.
If I don't, I lose it.
Yes. Yes.
So I've learned to be up in the middle of the night, to write stuff down. And even if I just write down 2 lines that I've got, like I'll wake up and I'll have 2 lines in my head. So I'll write those 2 lines down, and then I can go back to sleep. And later on in the morning, when I get up, then I can work on it. I can write it down, and it will continue to flow.
Isn't that amazing? Huh. And it's all from this one woman's prayer for you. Isn't that cool? Where did the drawing then sort of begin for you too?
I did off and on for years as a kid growing up, and it was the typical not great quality of kid drawing sort of thing. I started taking lessons in 1985.
Oh, okay.
And I took some personal lessons in the art club in town and did oils, and I really enjoyed that. And then I started taking correspondence courses. They didn't have online courses that much back then.
What's online?
Yeah, basically. And so I would do, I took a course that covered all different media.
Right.
And I did oils and watercolors and pastels. I totally love pastels.
Oh, do you really?
Oh, yeah. I would do everything in pastel if it wasn't so fragile before it's framed. Yeah. I love the immediacy with the fingers. And then I did acrylics, and I hated acrylics. Like it dried too fast. It didn't do anything I want. And I was like, I will never work in acrylics.
That's funny, because I love playing with watercolors and also digital things. And I tried pastels, but it's like you with the others. I just wasn't working for me. And so I went back to the watercolors. So I can empathize with you.
I love watercolors. I love the transparency of watercolors. But then at one point, and this would be, 8 years ago or something like that. I'm really lousy at how long ago something was.
Yeah. I can understand that.
But the Lord said very firmly, start using acrylics. Get used to them. And he was not angry, but he was extremely firm. And I knew that if I didn't do it, it would be an absolute disobedience.
Yeah.
Because he was that clear about it.
Wow.
And so I started using them, and I hated using them. But I've worked at it, and then the Lord brought along poured painting, where it's you mix acrylic paint with a medium so that it is quite fluid.
Yeah.
And you pour it onto a canvas, and then you can tilt it or that kind of thing to achieve something. And it's far more abstract. It's far more, you can't get tied up in the little details with it.
Yeah.
And it set something free in me in doing that. And now most of what I do is poured, and then once it's dry, I paint over top of that.
Really? Okay. And what do you use to paint over the top of it then usually?
Acrylics.
Acrylic again. Oh, I see.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
what is the medium that you mix with the pour usually?
There are so many different kinds of mediums out there.
Is that right?
A lot of people use Floetrol, which
Okay.
is actually a paint extender for house paint.
Okay.
I've never bothered to use Floetrol.
Okay.
As an artist, I buy the good quality stuff.
So that's something that I mean, some of our listeners are probably taking notes. That's something you just get at the art store or that you use?
Floetrol you would buy at a hardware store where you can buy house paint.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Some people simply use paint and water.
Oh, okay.
And the only thing with that is you have to be careful how much water you use with acrylic
Yeah,
paint,
right.
because you can break down the binder and then it
Right.
won't hold together.
Yeah, it doesn't look good then, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I use a product that I don't even know is available in the United States. I think it's a Canadian product.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. We'll have to buy from the Canadians, I guess.
It's a product called Demco pouring
Demco.
medium.
Okay.
DEMCO, Demco. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
And I find it works really well. It gives a nice shine to the painting, which
Mhm.
then adds a difficulty with photographing it. But yeah, it opened up something so that I was no longer have to get the details right, that tight feeling.
Your perfectionism it was out the window basically.
Yeah, because you cannot guarantee what it's going to do, and the paint will continue to move until it sets and is dry. So you may end up with something, and then 3 days later, it looks quite different.
Newness. Breezes gently blowing. Branches gracefully bowing. Fragrances of spring floating in the air. Hope springing lightly, lifting weary hearts. Expectancy quietly growing, wafting dreams aloft. Winter now is over. Heaviness is released as souls leap for joy, hearts soaring in assurance, secure in the promise of life.
This has been His Stories with Bill. Welcome to His Stories with Bill, about how God takes us through His creative process. So in your process, like let's take the pouring, for example, or you can take anything you want to, but do you pray about it? Does God give you an image about it, or you just randomly figure something out, or you wait until it appears and then you go with that, or what happens, Adelaide?
It works differently. Sometimes I get the lines of a poem, and And then I write that, and then I go, what colors are going to portray that?
Mm.
I'm working on one now with lilies,
Okay.
and I got the poem for that first.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
okay.
Other times I will see and feel a color.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Mm.
I don't know if you get what I mean by feel a color.
No, I don't. I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm not much of a feeler. So, but you actually feel a color, huh?
okay, I will see a color either in something or in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and my spirit goes, this is good. Okay. And
Cool.
so then I will start paying attention to that color. I will
Ah,
concentrate on that color in my mind,
okay.
and then I will get a feel, or sometimes I get the feel first and then the color, and just a feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it's a feeling of excitement
Mm-hmm.
or peace or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I get the feeling first, then I will go, what colors say that to me?
Hmm.
Because all colors talk to me.
Huh.
So go
Wait,
ahead.
can you explain that? I mean, what do you mean they talk to you? They speak to you in terms of emphasis of the picture, or?
Colors have always talked to me. I
Hmm.
look at a color and,
Mm-hmm.
okay, say a woman is wearing a scarf,
Okay.
and I will look at the scarf, and some color particularly in it will stand out to me.
Okay, I see.
And
Gotcha.
if I pay attention to that color, then God starts talking to me about what he wants to say to her based on that color in her scarf.
Oh, I get you. Okay.
Okay.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
in that sense, colors talk to me.
Mm. Hmm.
Not audibly.
No, right, right.
Okay. It's within my heart, within my spirit.
No, no, I totally understood that part. I was just curious
Yeah.
to know what you're thinking in that regard. That's cool. My goodness.
So
I,
I
of
will.
my artist friends, you explained it well, and I don't think I've ever heard it explained quite like you did, but it totally makes sense to me.
I think I've only ever met two people in my life that I would say colors talk to me. They make my spirit zing,
Mm.
and they understood what I meant.
Okay. That is amazing, Adelaide. So in your art process then, how do you bring closure to it, or how do you decide, okay, I'm done. This is where I needed to go.
That's always a tough one for every
I
artist, isn't it?
know, isn't
It is.
it?
Usually, okay, let's assume one process. I get the
Hmm.
colors in my mind.
Okay.
Okay, and then I decide, am I doing this with brush?
Hmm.
And am I doing it as a background? Or usually
Hmm.
I start with a background, a very abstract background.
Mm.
So I will put those colors down, whether by brush or whether by pouring it.
Hmm.
And then once it's dry, I will just sit and look at it.
Hmm.
I have an easel in my living room,
Okay.
and I put it up there, and I just sit there and I look at it and I go, okay, what is it saying? What am I feeling?
Hmm.
And then I will look at, how do I write that?
Mm.
And then I'll start getting a sense. I never start a poem and go, I'm going to say this.
Hmm.
I wait until I feel that the couple of lines, the feeling of it, that
Hmm.
kind of a thing.
Hmm.
And then I
Hmm.
will write that down.
Okay.
And I usually pass it by my husband, and I
Mm.
pass it by my daughter because she's a writer.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And
What a
I
great
go, does this
family to
fit?
have beside you.
Yeah. And I go, does it fit? And usually I don't have to change anything.
Uh-huh.
Occasionally my daughter will go, well, if you switch these words around, it would have more impact.
Oh, isn't that
And so
nice?
I will do that, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
And then when I have that,
Mm-hmm.
I will sign my work. And once I sign it, it's done.
It's done.
I go, okay, that has achieved what I'm trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm not completely satisfied with it, I will
Mm-hmm.
sign it and it's done, and I won't change it.
Very good. So now here lately, I've noticed you not only write the poems, you have pictures, but you actually incorporated those together, which I think is just amazing. So you videotape the art, and then you audibly say the poem and
Yeah.
incorporate it with that art, then, don't you?
And those go together. So if anybody buys a painting from me, they get a copy of the poem.
Oh, I see. Isn't that neat? Very cool. So, speaking of which, how do people find you online, and can they see you, see your art, or see your poems, or whatever, or hear them?
I have everything posted on my personal Facebook page.
Okay.
And I have an album for each year. This year's Paintings 2021. So
Okay.
everything I do this year would get posted in there.
Okay. Very
And
good.
they are gradually all going up on my channel as well,
Okay.
for which I have to thank my wonderful friend in Portugal who does all my techie stuff.
There you go.
I'm really no good. Like I could not do the channel if he was not doing all that stuff. He puts it together, he edits it, the whole thing.
Wow.
He puts up the Portuguese subtitles,
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows how to, that's his business. He knows how to do that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
And and the neat thing is, Bill, he contacted me one day and he said, I had this really vivid dream where I was managing your YouTube channel.
Well, you go for it, because I need help.
and that's how we got started.
Yes.
That's how the channel got started in February, was from his dream.
Very cool.
Of doing that.
Isn't that exciting?
It was such a God thing.
So what's your channel called again?
It's just under my name, Adelaide Doyle.
Doyle. Okay.
Doyle.
D-O-Y, excuse me, L-E. Okay.
Yeah, Doyle.
All right. So if they go to YouTube and do Adelaide Doyle, and then they look for the Canadian that's in there, they'll find your work. And then on Facebook, you're under the same name, I assume. Then.
Yes.
Okay. And they'll find, and you said you organize it by year. So if they go to your photos by the year, they'll see different photos based on what you've done over however many years you've been at it.
Right. I think I've got as far back as 2013, I think.
Okay.
So
very cool. As far as your being available, like for live portraits, or for a commission, let's say, how would they get a hold of you? Like through Messenger, or would be the easiest?
They can messenger me. Okay. Or my email, which I would prefer they use the channel email for that, which is delvy.quest.arts at gmail.com.
Very good. So if you want to get a hold of Adelaide, just use that email, and she'd be happy to do a commission for you. Or if you want to look over her art, she's on Facebook, and she also is on YouTube. You can search for her there. And if you have any difficulty, feel free to text me, or you can connect with her and say, hey, I'd like to see your YouTubes, but I'm not finding it, etc. And she'd be more than happy to help you. How about culture? What impact do you think art has on culture, or is in the future will be having in the culture you're in up in Canada?
I think I don't think of terms of culture.
Okay.
I tend to think in terms of my mission statement is to love, worship, and delight God. And to bring healing to those who are hurting. That's my personal mission statement.
Okay.
And so what I do is bring encouragement. I bring hope. I bring peace through what I'm painting and writing. There's also times when I am warring with what I'm doing because I'm declaring hope. I am warring against hopelessness, despair, by putting out there the hope. That makes sense?
Yes, totally. So you feel like that the art, and I totally agree with you, by the way, the art is almost like a weapon of hopefulness, and we can put it out there, and it exudes hope into the hearts of people when they see our art, or when they listen to it, or whatever. Then
or say comfort.
Comfort is
somebody's feeling they've lost a loved one and they're just feeling devastated. Well, I have one out there, and I think it's on the channel now.
Okay.
called Not Alone. I think it's called Not Alone.
Mm.
When you've done over 300, I've done almost 400 poems. Sometimes
They
you
kind
forget
of
what they're called.
blend together over time, don't they?
But it's one that I did very shortly after my mom went to heaven.
Mm.
And it was like, I can't keep going.
Mhm.
I had been her caregiver for years, the only one of her kids who lived in town. And so I was the one who was there all the time.
So you were
And
really
then
close then, obviously.
Yeah, very close.
Right.
And so when she went to heaven, I was like, who am I? What do I do now? And I felt like I can't continue this walk. I don't know what to do.
Mm.
And I did a painting and I did a poem based on that.
Mm.
And I have had people go, that is exactly what I needed to hear. I had, my husband died, my friend died, whatever.
Yeah.
And it spoke to them and it brought them comfort.
Mm.
And for me, that's what it's all about.
Yes. Yes.
If people want to buy my work, awesome, because then I can buy more supplies,
Right. Sure.
but that's not
There's
what
a
it's about
practical
for me.
side of being an artist too.
Absolutely, there is. And I appreciate when I can get money so I can buy more stuff.
Exactly.
But
Sure.
that's not, for me, that's not what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even doing the channel, like we're now putting up playlists that have a price range.
Mm. Okay.
So that if people want to buy, they can look at the price range and decide which one they can afford.
Mhm.
But it's still, that's not what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about touching hearts and lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I really appreciate being able to talk to you today, Adelaide, about your art. And I completely agree about that last statement, especially that you made, trying to touch hearts and lives of people through our art. And
Yeah.
I just love getting to know you a little bit better and love hearing your perspective on art, because it's a very different perspective, which I think is a healthy perspective. And I really enjoyed spending time with you. And thank you for saying yes, by the way, and letting me
Yeah,
do
this has been
this.
fun.
Yes, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
this has been Adelaide and myself, and we appreciate you joining us today. And it's been fun exploring her stories about her friendship with Christ, about how he has led her to where she's actually developed today into the artist that she is today, and creativity. And we're really enjoying the time that we've had together explaining that process. Thank you too for giving us your time and listening to us on His Story. You can connect with me once a week as I discuss with artist friends on HisStories Podcast about Jesus and creativity on Podbean.
Newness. Breezes gently blowing, branches gracefully bowing, fragrances of spring floating in the air, hope springing lightly, lifting weary hearts, expectancy quietly growing, wafting dreams aloft. Winter now is over, heaviness is released, as souls leap for joy, hearts soaring in assurance, secure in the promise of life.